PA. So paternity leave is now in effect in the public sector, and they have adoption leave for parents. I'm joining the man I believe was certainly the best performing minister for 2022 for me, Dr. Nigel Clarke. Welcome, sir, to the hotline, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Emily.
Yeah.
I think you left out Pupa.
Pupa. Yes, Pupa was there. But there was Pa independent of Pupa, though.
Yes.
Yes.
For sure.
Me Pa.
Pupa goes with Muma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. It looks like, the street talk to, Dr. Clarke.
I was in Westmoreland with you. You may not know that or recall.
It?
I spent many years in Bluefield.
Yes. Well, I know of this.
And I obviously... Anyway, you didn't call me about that.
No, but that's important, because when I see you go in Parliament and talk about Keisha with our whatever, with your completely street jargon, I love it. So that's really good. Yeah, I called you to talk about paternity leave now. Tell me, You say it's in effect.
Yes.
And it's really part of the public sector restructuring exercise that you're doing, or something independent of it?
Yeah, so we took the opportunity to review the staff orders or the circulars, the conditions of service. And, in the 21st century, certainly in 2022, to have a gendered sort of leave entitlement in the way that we have it, where it was not available for fathers, we took the view that that was an anachronism that needed to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, as I had announced earlier in this year, effective January 1st, paternity leave is available in the public service, in the public sector.
Tell us the conditions then.
Sure. It's available to employees aged 18 above who have at least 12 months of continuous service with the public sector. The employee must provide official documentation that he is a registered father of the child, clearly, or else we would have no way of verifying that this is paternity leave that is due. And
what's official documentation?
He has to provide official documentation that he's a registered father of the child.
That's a birth certificate?
That I think birth certificate would definitely satisfy that condition.
But how long after the birth of a child does the birth certificate come?
That's why it says official documentation. I mean, it's the same. It's why it says official documentation.
Because I'm. What I'm thinking is normally certainly the mother goes on maternity leave before the mother goes into labor.
Right.
So the father, the hope from the policy perspective is that the father will go into paternity leave at what point?
At some point after birth. But it doesn't say.
Yeah.
It provides a limit that it must be taken within the first 6 months of delivery. But it can be any time in that period.
Okay.
So it provides flexibility to the couple.
Yeah.
It could be after the mother, let's say the mother doesn't work in the public service and the mother works somewhere else and she's on paternity leave. It could be after she goes to work that the father says, okay, let me take paternity leave now.
Right.
Or they could choose to take it when she's also at home with the child. It's up to, we have left that choice to the parent.
So what? So you said the birth certificate is something that would be recognized, and some other form of official documentation.
Not other. It just says must provide official documentation that he's a registered father of the child.
But what other official documentation is there apart from birth certificate?
I know that the birth certificate definitely satisfies this requirement. I wouldn't want to opine on what else may satisfy, but certainly the birth certificate satisfies.
This requirement that you're telling me about, is it in a regulation? Is it in a policy document, an MOU?
Circular, yes, it's in a written circular that has gone out
right.
to the cabinet secretary, to permanent secretaries, to CEOs of departments, the heads of departments and agencies.
Yes.
It has gone out in the way that circulars usually go out, and it's an amendment to the staff orders and the leave provisions of Chapter 7 of the staff orders. And it's, it's a detailed circular that has gone out that covers the new paternity leave, the new adoption leave, and the extension of maternity leave from 40 days to 60 days with pay.
Okay, and the power to make such a circular is given to, is that the Ministry of Finance? Yes. Under which, what's a parent law for this particular circular? Is there an act that governs this particular area?
Yeah, so the power to amend the staff orders is given to the Ministry of Finance and Public Service under the signatory of the financial secretary. You'd have to give until the end of our interview probably to give you the reference in terms of the law. Particular law. Yeah.
Okay, great. So what of the situation now where you can have a man and a woman perhaps cohabiting, and it may be unrealistic, but what if a woman is pregnant before she meets a particular man? The man falls in love with a woman and literally takes on the child that the woman is carrying as his child, even though he knows he's not the biological father. And they're both living together, as I said. Would he be able to qualify for paternity leave as and when the woman delivers a child that is not biologically his?
You're thinking hard there, Emily.
Yes.
The circular simply says provide documentation, official documentation, that he is the let me just see here. Provide official documentation that he is the registered father of the child. So if under your circumstances, and let me just follow you. That's not to say that we expect this to be necessarily the norm, but under the scenario that you have painted, if the man is the registered father, that's the only condition that is relevant. It doesn't matter how he becomes the registered father of the child. As long as he is the registered father of the child, he is entitled to paternity leave.
Right. So in this case, he couldn't be the registered father because
he could be. You're saying you're the scenario you painted.
Yeah.
And I don't want to necessarily stay in the rabbit hole with you, but the scenario. But just to be transparent to your listeners, the scenario you presented is one where you are saying the mother has elected him as the registered father. And
the mother has not. Well, the mother may not elect him because the mother may very well be. The mother is going to give the right father the child, and the child is going to have the name of the father who the mother may have met before she started cohabiting with this man who loves her, and and so forth. But that man who lives in the house with the woman who is carrying somebody else's child, he will never benefit under this particular circular stipulation from paternity leave for this child, because the woman will not be putting his name on the birth certificate as the father because he's not the biological father. You understand?
Yeah, but I think you've answered your own question.
So he wouldn't benefit. Okay.
Yeah, it applies to persons who are the registered fathers of the child in question. Who is the registered father of the child in question?
Oh. So this father in this case, who doesn't live in this house, can apply so long as he's over 18 and he has his 12 months of sustained working relationship in the public sector. He could apply and he could get the paternity leave for this child.
Correct. It also applies to part-time employees
Yeah.
who have worked part-time for 12 months and who have done at least 18 hours per week. So part-time, we have cases of part-time employees.
Yeah.
So it's quite broad in its application.
Yeah.
And, you have to take it within the first 6 months of delivery.
Yeah.
And in the downside and very unfortunate scenario of a stillbirth, a paternity leave is still allowable. Right? So you still can qualify, because you can understand, as we can all understand, those are very emotional circumstances, and parents, sort of partners may benefit from the time together.
Okay. So how many are there limits to the leave entitlement in a year? In a year, not overall.
There are limits to the leave entitlement overall, just as with females. I mean, for paternity leave, there are limits on the number of occasions on which you can qualify for paternity leave in the public service.
Mm-hmm. What's that limit?
I believe that limit is 3.
3. So there's not a limit in the number. Can you get the 3 in 1 year?
Why, you're just interested in certain kind of scenarios.
No, those are the things that come in my mind, so I have to ask you.
Well, there's nothing that precludes that.
Oh.
There's nothing that precludes that. But why are we focusing on these exceptional circumstances?
That's exactly what you need the questions for, so your brains can be stretched to see whether this thing is going to work. It's a difficult instances, that you test the strength of the policy that you have put in place.
Sure. Yeah? I appreciate your question.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that precludes the timing or of when the paternity leave is taken.
Mm-hmm.
The limit is however 3, so you can't take it more than 3 times
in your lifetime.
In your employment
lifetime, in your over 18 employment lifetime.
Correct.
And when you say 12 continuous months, let's say you are, when we talk about public sector, just tell me, so no private enterprise at the moment. Private enterprises are not compelled to put this paternity regime in place?
No. This is an amendment to the staff orders of the public service. And so this only applies to the public sector.
Mm-hmm.
And we're leading by example. There are private entities that have elected to do so, but leading by example and putting this policy in place for the public service and, differentiating the public service. The public service is, we want to be seen as an employer of choice. It may not always offer the best salaries, but the terms and the conditions of service, we're trying to make it more attractive so we can, continue to attract and retain the talent that we need to run the public bureaucracy.
What's the magic with the 12 continuous months requirement?
The magic is you have to qualify. I mean, we want, I think from a taxpayer perspective, you would want to ensure that there is some level of commitment to the public service. That 12-month continuous service applies to mothers as well. That's borrowed from what already exists for maternity leave.
Yes. Okay. And then the period you say that they'd get, that's 20 working days with
20
pay?
Working days with pay. And they can take it at any time during the first 6 months of the child's life.
And it's 5 working days make a week?
5 working days make a week,
so it's 4 weeks?
Correct.
Okay, and in the first 6 months. So have the processes been put in place for what the prospective paternity leave applicant needs to do? What paperwork? Are there going to be forms that are standard across the various departments and agencies for them to fill out to be considered for this leave?
It would be just similar to what obtained for other kinds of departmental leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're adjusting here is Chapter 7 in the staff orders, which deals with leave provisions. And there are various types. You have medical leave, you have different types of leave.
Yeah.
And the same procedures, you would, make the facts known to your particular HR officer.
Yeah.
Who would sign off on the leave entitlement as long as the circumstances accord with what is in the circular.
Right. And then if you get the paternity leave, are there other kinds of leave that you are precluded from getting in the year when you get the paternity leave?
No. This does not affect any other leave entitlement.
Yeah. Okay. And I understand, I saw a response from, I think, Lambert Brown saying the unions have been quite integral to the signing off on this policy.
We work in partnership. This is a matter that we discussed. It didn't take much of a discussion, however. But it is a matter that we did discuss, and prior to sending the circular out to make it effective, we would have provided, I believe, the head of the Confederation with an advance copy. So we work in partnership with unions, but this is not a matter that needed much of a discussion.
Okay, and now I'm just wondering the position of the person who is getting the paternity leave, which will remain, I suppose, unoccupied for 4 weeks while the person is out, and the public service pays that individual. Have you any projection as to the financial impact it's going to have on the budgets overall to allow this leave to materialize?
No, repeat that, please.
The financial impact. Have you calculated it for the 4 weeks that a father is out, similarly to for the times that a mother is out, for example, and somebody may have to step in to fill the position? Do you have any idea as to what the overall cost?
Any sort of calculation would be making assumptions that may or may not be culturally appropriate. Any new policy, such the policy can say what it says. Person's disposition to actually take it up. We will have to see what experience shows. You know what I mean? So, we can make estimates about the number of children born to public officers on an annual basis and so on. But you'd have to assume unlike the mother, where it is necessary to take maternity. But even in that case, I don't know. Certainly in the private sector, I've seen mothers, take varying lengths of maternity leave. Right? They differ in how much they want to take.
Yeah.
One would have to make assumptions as to what the particular choice of men are going to be, and we kind of wait to see. But suffice to say that we believe that we can accommodate.
Right.
The time chosen was chosen to be such that we can accommodate the adjustment.
What if the mother and the father work for the same
work for the
department?
Government?
Yeah, even in the same department, can they each get their respective leave simultaneously?
There's nothing that restricts their leave entitlement by virtue of where they work in the public service. So as long as you're in the public service, these are your entitlements. And so if the scenario that you're asking about, if there's a scenario where a mother and father both work in the public service, then yes, they both qualify. At
the same time, can the mother get her 3 months maternity leave or whatever it is, and the father, perhaps the last month of that paternity leave would get... okay.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And can the father also get the paternity leave continuous with any other leave to which he is entitled? So let's say there is some
vacation leave,
right, or bereavement. You lose a parent or whatever, and you have an entitlement to say 3 weeks. Can you tag them on even though one wouldn't know when somebody would die, but if you are on paternity leave and somebody dies, can you sort of get that other leave continuous with the paternity leave?
Well, there's a provision that we have in there that says that if additional time is needed after the expiration of paternity leave, approval may be granted for the utilization of vacation leave, which the employee is entitled. So you could, let's say you didn't plan to take it. You have vacation leave, it's your entitlement, so you can take vacation leave as long as you give the right notice and the proper provisions and a prerequisite for taking vacation leave are satisfied, then you can use it, right? If you didn't plan to use it and you're on your paternity leave and there is need for you to stay on paternity leave a little longer, then approval may be granted at that time to utilize some of your available vacation leave for up to an additional 10 working days.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. Anything else you think we need to know?
Yes. You're talking about that adoption leave is new as well.
Yes.
We've never had adoption leave in the public service. And this policy we're putting in place the policy is a family-oriented policy of the family unit is the core of society. And we want to strengthen family bonds in the society. Certainly here we're talking about the public service. Giving fathers the time to bond with their newborn children.
Hold on a second, because is there any stipulation that the paternity leave that you give the man, he must literally use it spending time with the child? Is there any such stipulation?
You really went to law school, didn't you? We can't compel the father to do that. We can't, that's not, we live in a free society. People are free to do with their entitlement what they want to, right?
Yes.
But the expectation would be that someone who gets paternity leave because of a newborn child will use that time with that child. As I said, there's nothing that can compel the government or their employer to enforce that. But adoption leave, let's talk about that for a little bit. Adoption leave, we have a situation where people do adopt children in Jamaica. Members of the public service do adopt children. And today, you adopt a child. You adopt a 3-month-old, a 6-month-old, a 2-year-old. There is nothing in the staff orders today that gives you the opportunity for leave with pay to bond with that child. Nothing. Right? You'd have to take your vacation leave or something like that, or to take leave without pay. With the new staff order that came into effect or the amendment to the staff order that came into effect on January 1st, parents of an adopted child can apply for and gain leave with pay so they may bond with that child. And we hope that this in some way makes adoption a more acceptable option for prospective parents and makes the adoption process smoother.
Good.
This is also a big change and one that we're very happy to put into place.
I'm happy to have had you. I'm out of time. All the best to you and your team. Take care. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke. It's Headlines time.